Not because they forgot, not because they're too busy, but because they genuinely don't care. And when you discover this, when you say, wait, it was your birthday yesterday, why didn't you say anything? They just shrug, they smile. They say something like, oh, it's just another day. And you look at them like they're insane. Because birthdays are supposed to matter. You're supposed to want cake, presents, attention. You're supposed to feel special on that one day. You're supposed to need the world to stop and acknowledge your existence. But some people, they don't need that anymore. And here's what's fascinating. It's not that they're depressed. It's not that they hate themselves. It's not that they don't value their life. It's that they've stumbled onto something most people spend their entire lives avoiding. The truth that you don't need a special day to matter, that your existence doesn't require annual validation, that the whole ritual of birthday celebration is just a game we all agreed to play, and they've stopped playing. Now, let me tell you what's really happening here. What this reveals about consciousness, about ego, about the difference between existing and proving you exist. Most people, they're not actually celebrating their birthday. They're seeking proof that they matter, proof that they're loved, proof that their presence on this planet makes a difference. The birthday becomes a test. And every year, they're anxiously waiting for the results. Did enough people remember? Were the messages enthusiastic enough? Did anyone go out of their way? And if the day doesn't meet expectations, they feel invisible, forgotten, like maybe they don't actually matter after all. This is the ego at work, the ego that needs constant confirmation of its importance, the ego that measures its worth by how many people acknowledge it, the ego that's terrified of insignificance. But the person who treats their birthday like a normal day, they're not operating from ego anymore. They're operating from something deeper, something the ego can't understand. They're operating from being. You see, there's a fundamental difference between proving you exist and simply existing. Most people are stuck in the proving, the performing, the constant demonstration of worthiness. But some people, they've dropped the act. They've realized that existence doesn't require an audience, that you don't need applause to be real. That mattering isn't something you earn through annual celebrations. You just are. And once you've touched that awareness, once you've felt the freedom of existing without needing to prove it, birthdays start to look different. They start to look like what they actually are: social rituals, collective agreements, games we play to reassure each other that we're significant. And there's nothing wrong with the game. It serves a purpose. It creates connection. It gives people a reason to reach out, to express love, to acknowledge each other. But it's still a game. And the person who treats their birthday like a normal day, they've seen through it. They're not rejecting love or connection or celebration. They're just not confusing those things with proof of existence. Let me tell you something about these people. They're often the same ones who don't post much on social media, who don't announce their achievements, who don't need witnesses to their lives. Not because they're hiding, but because they're not performing. They've realized that the need for constant external validation is exhausting, that measuring yourself by other people's reactions is a losing game. That peace comes from within, not from notifications and birthday wishes. This is what I mean when I talk about waking up. Not in some mystical sense, but in the simple recognition that you've been asleep to your own games, your own rituals, your own desperate need for significance. And the moment you wake up to it, the moment you see it clearly, something shifts. You stop needing birthdays to feel special, because you've realized that special is just another concept, another story. Another way the ego tries to separate itself from the rest of existence. You're not special, and you're not ordinary either. You're simply here, now, alive. And that's neither special nor ordinary. It just is. Now, here's what makes people uncomfortable about this. When someone doesn't need their birthday celebrated, it threatens everyone else's need for celebration, because it raises a question, a dangerous question. What are we really celebrating? Are we celebrating the person, or are we celebrating the ritual itself? Are we expressing genuine love, or are we just checking a box, fulfilling an obligation, performing the social script? Most birthday celebrations, if we're honest, are more about the people celebrating than the person being celebrated. They're about feeling like good friends, good family, good people. They're about not being the one who forgot. They're about maintaining the social contract. But genuine love, genuine appreciation, it doesn't need a calendar. It doesn't wait for permission. It doesn't show up once a year, right on schedule. Real love is random, spontaneous, unexpected. It shows up on a Tuesday afternoon with a text that says, "I was thinking about you." It appears on a difficult Thursday with a call that says, "You okay?" It arrives uninvited but deeply welcome whenever it's genuinely felt. That's the kind of love the birthday-ignoring person values. Not the scheduled kind, not the obligatory kind, not the kind that shows up because the date says it should. They want the real thing. And they've learned that the real thing rarely arrives in predictable packages. Here's something else. The person who doesn't celebrate their birthday has usually been through something. Some experience that shifted their perspective on what actually matters. Maybe they had a birthday where nobody showed up. Maybe they threw themselves a party and felt lonelier surrounded by people than they did alone. Maybe they received all the attention they thought they wanted and realized it didn't fill the emptiness. Something broke the spell. Something revealed that external validation doesn't actually validate anything. That you can have the perfect birthday and still feel hollow. That proving you matter doesn't make you matter. And once that illusion shatters, you can't put it back together. You can't unsee what you've seen. You can't return to naive expectation. So you stop expecting. You stop needing. You stop measuring your worth by how many people remember your birthday. And paradoxically, this is when you become free. Free to appreciate genuine connection without desperately needing it. Free to receive love without requiring it as proof. Free to exist without constantly asking the world, "Do I matter? Do I matter? Please tell me I matter." You already know you matter. Or, more accurately, you've realized that mattering is just another story. Another concept the mind uses to feel secure in an insecure universe. The truth is simpler and more profound. You exist, right now, reading these words, breathing, thinking, being, and that existence, it doesn't need justification. It doesn't need celebration. It doesn't need annual reminders. It simply is. This is what the birthday-ignoring person has understood. Not intellectually, but experientially. They've touched something beyond the ego's constant need for significance. They've touched being itself. And being doesn't have birthdays. It doesn't age. It doesn't need parties, or presents, or posts. It just is. Always. Constantly. Unchangingly. Now, I'm not saying you should stop celebrating birthdays. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with enjoying that day, with appreciating the attention, with using it as an excuse to gather people you love. That's beautiful. That's human. That's perfectly fine. But notice the difference. Are you celebrating from a place of joy or from a place of need? Are you enjoying connection or are you seeking validation? Are you grateful for love? Or are you testing whether you're loved? The answer reveals everything, because celebration from joy is light. It's easy, it's free, it doesn't carry anxiety or expectation or the heavy weight of proof-seeking. But celebration from need, it's exhausting, it's tense, it's fragile, because your sense of worth is riding on how well the day goes. And no day can carry that weight without cracking. The person who treats their birthday like a normal day has simply dropped the weight. They've stopped asking the day to prove something about their existence. And in dropping that weight, they've found something extraordinary. The realization that every day is your birthday. Every moment is your birth. You are constantly being born into this present instant, dying to the last one, being reborn into the next. When you see this, when you really see it, birthdays become redundant, not meaningless, just unnecessary, like celebrating Wednesday or honoring the letter Q. It's arbitrary, a marker we created because we need markers, because we need ways to organize time and create rituals and feel like we're moving through something meaningful. But the person who's woken up, they've realized time is the illusion. The ritual is the illusion. The need to mark and measure and prove is the illusion. What's real is this moment, this breath, this aliveness that doesn't need a date to justify itself. So when their birthday comes around, they don't resist it. They don't make a big deal about not making a big deal. They just let it be another day of being alive, another day of existing without needing to prove they exist, another day of mattering without needing to demonstrate they matter. And in that quiet, unglamorous, uncelebrated acceptance of simply being here, they find more peace than any party could ever provide. Because they've stopped waiting for the world to tell them they're significant. They've realized significance is just another trap. Another way the ego keeps you seeking outside yourself for what was always within. You are here, you are alive, you are aware, and that needs no celebration.